Well, hello. So this message goes out to Akiva Goldsman, who is in charge of, I believe, the script of Transformers, and I believe Hasbro's trying to beef up their universe. Which kudos to Hasbro. Really excited about that because Transformers is one of the stronghold, really powerful franchise. A lot of spiritual secrets, a lot of amazing ideas, a lot of branches off that could be movies. I mean, there's a plethora of movies that could come out of the Transformers franchise alone. Not to mention the G.I. Joe franchise and many other different franchises that Hasbro had. But today we're going to focus on Transformers. So, some elements that Mr. Goldman has. They're tapping into, if you've noticed, the quintessons. They're tapping into the quintessons a little bit in the last movie. I don't know if they're carrying on through, and they're tapping a little bit with Unicron. And they're bringing that storyline in, which is really good. The factor that the Transformers have creators that enslaved them, and the Transformers revolted against these individuals. And the whole story that these Transformers, do they know the story or do they not know the story of their background history? I believe in the cartoon they do not, and the story is revealed to them that they had been slaves, and so the Decepticons become even more fueled, and the Autobots have this moment of awakening, seeing like we were slaves. Wait, what? That's our programming. So just having that element and the spirituality of it, a slave to what? What are they a slave to? They're a slave to the producing of material goods. That's what they were. The Autobots were a slave to producing material goods. The Decepticons were uh, slaves to the military, to enslavement, to going out and branching out and war factions. So that's how they were broken down. And then together they got together and they overthrew the Quintessons. And then they went and they fought each other. Then they fought each other for. Then in the process they destroyed Cybertron or ruined Cybertron. So that's addressing that particular story and bringing them together against the quintessence. And what's that particular story? Now, that I think is the crucial moment, the spiritual element, because it brings about humanity and our personal enslavement to the things around us, to our personal addictions. So I think that that's a really powerful tool to create that multi-layer of people's addiction to religion, people's addiction to drugs, people's addiction to being right, many different addictions, and maybe many in looking at it from an enslavement aspect. And so having that in the programming, because this is a programming that the Quintessons have delivered onto the Transformers. So the Transformers have to reshape their programming. I don't know if you've studied Kabbalah, but it's pretty much Kabbalah. Transformers is pretty much Kabbalah, if you think about it. Because the Transformers come in with the programming and they have to override, they still have sentient the spark of life. So with the spark of life, they're kind of. So we're going to talk a little bit about the programming of some things, various things. Soundwave, key element, key player. Really should think about him because this is an individual that can create multiples of himself and multiple creatures, like a whole army. He has a whole army. There's some chat room things that people have done and where they took Soundwave and they gave Soundwave a lot more courage to take over and overrun and become more powerful. So there's a whole aspect of Soundwave. Soundwave, of course, is one of the most beloved characters because he's quiet. He carries out and he is very Frank Underwood, but with a lot less words. So there's that. Then we've got Shockwave, the scientist, of course. I think that that particular element of modifying humans and modifying robots and modifying all those kind of elements, that's a whole movie unto itself where Shockwave could be his own villain, and then you have someone else coming into that particular movie. The Predacons. The Predacons, in particular, are the creations of Shockwave, but the Predacons have their own storyline onto themselves. I think sticking and being true to the Predacons in the sense of the five combiners that form into one, I think that's really, and having them be also going back to the original names. There's no need to change the names unless there's some legal aspect to it and you want to like jazz it up and create your own thing. No, just go back to the originals, tweak it a little bit, and bring it forward in that particular way. I think that building on what's already there will allow you to create that weaving construct that will empower the growth of the toys and to what it was before, because we had amazing, I mean, plethora. So Predacon, Tripticon, the whole concept of Tripticon is a city that transforms into a giant lizard. So that whole story. And Metroplex, Tripticon and Metroplex, that whole story onto itself could be a whole different faction. So there you've got that particular story. Then we've got the breakdown of the Autobot leadership. The Autobot leadership has been broken down in three different elements in various different forms. You've got Optimus Prime, most notably the most famous one. Then you've got Rodimus Prime, who took over after Optimus Prime. And then you've got Ultra Magnus, who is kind of in between. And there's some factions where Optimus is actually against Ultra Magnus. There's some universes where there's that aspect. And what is their each individual role as a leader, and what do they want? Because you could take some Ultra Mag, because there's going to come a point in time when they're going to have to side with the Decepticons in order to destroy the Quintessons, if that's the storyline that you're going with. So who of these individuals is going to jump on the side of the enemy? So they're playing with that kind of dual road, that kind of aspect. Also, there's some really, go back to the original designs. See how you can play around with the original designs and motive. And to me, at times it felt like shrapnel, just shrapnel. And I know that's the special effects area. It's something new, something maybe a little bit more boxy. I don't know, but I'm just throwing out ideas, because throwing out shrapnel is interesting, but it's already played. We need something new. We need something. Watch movies, other movies. What are they doing? What's going on with that? Better realized combiners. The Constructicon thing, or whatever that was supposed to be, that did not leave a mark at all in the minds of any single human being. That was sad. I'm sorry. What needed to happen was bringing in the original Constructicons and bringing in Devastator to the form of Devastator of what it is, which is the 6 combiners and I mean, think about it. If you saw, I mean, a Transformer is probably as tall as maybe like 3 houses, 4 houses. But if you saw something that is like almost to the top of the clouds, that would just blow people's minds. Rather than having it be this, go into that whole element. The whole element of Headmasters. G.I. Joe, I know that you want to bring that franchise in. Headmasters is a great way to bring in G.I. Joe and Transformers together. There was a whole faction of Headmasters that came about. Who was the leader of the Headmasters? There were Power Masters. Optimus at one point in time got a Power Master. I believe it was the original boy who was in the cartoon with the gold bug, or was his son? I don't know. I forget. And female Transformers. I think that one of the particular elements, if you want to branch out and build this franchise piece, because basically what you're going after, what I think you're going after, is Marvel. Is what you're with the X-Men kind of universe, where you've got your Wolverines and you've got your Jean Greys and you've got your story of this and your story of Deadpools and stuff like that. I believe that's what you're going for. What I think is really powerful about Transformers is that this is an amazing world with character analysis that just blows your mind. Like, there's no, like, I mean, I'm sorry, Marvel, I love those characters, but the Transformers characters are a whole other level. So getting those kind of, and getting fraction, but first, Quintesson movie. Let's deal with the Quintessons. Transform Decepticons and Autobots work together to get rid of the Quintessons, and in the process, then you have your Soundwave that splits off. Then you've got your Predacons in your home. Then there's also, when there was a war, there were other planets that were inhabited, like Junkion. The Junkions. What's the deal with that? There was another planet of peaceful Transformers that do not know war at all. There's a planet where the Predacons reside. So there's various different planets. This has been a very long Transformers video, hasn't it? But bringing the female Transformers, Victorion. When Victorion came out, we went nuts. Transformers fans, one of the biggest things that we love is the female empowerment, and we're not quite sure. We just tend to gravitate that. So when we get that female character, when we have that episode with RC and Alita 1, we just go nuts. And RC was just, you can see everything that was done with RC just because of the whole situation of having a female character. Yeah, I believe it's RC. So Victorion, and the factor that Victorion combines together. DW has been making amazing, I believe DW is the still owner of the. I've heard through the grapevine that they're doing some crazy, great storylines. So maybe playing off of that, and tying that all in together, but definitely having it be your own universe. And I think one of the pivotal moments just to keep it, one of the pivotal moments in the Transformers history in the movie. When we saw it, we need that. We need that, like a Transformers movie plot point. When the Transformers were killed. They were killed. It was a kids' movie, and we're watching this, and the Transformers were actually killed. Before they were shot, they were wounded. They got rescued, they got healed. No, in the movie, they got killed. So dealing with, and especially when we have movies like Batman versus Superman and the concept of killing people, and how do we deal with this in a robotic sense, and the spark of life and what that means, and that whole context, and giving more life to the Transformers. Because ultimately, if you want to build this franchise, you're going to have to make a movie where it's not humans at all. Well, it's all Transformers in other planets. And ideally, in order for you to have that, you need to have dialogue. You need to have the dialogue that coincides with something that is powerful, that will draw the audiences in to see a robot speaking words. It's like, what? But I'm going to give it an Oscar anyway. Where's the category for Transformers? That's the level, I think, that Transformers needs to get to in regards to the movie world. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you love Transformers? I love Transformers. Transformers. I think the word alone, Transformers, has been really pivotal. I study Kabbalah, so in the process of understanding all of that, I understand so many even deeper secrets. I can break down each and every single episode, the secret that they had. So, and they jokes as well. Thank you, and I wish you a wonderful year, and good luck. Good luck. I think that the Transformer movies that have come out so far have, the most recent one has kind of been memorable. Is it one of those movies that I want to like? Hey, let's watch it. This is the Transformers cartoon, a movie that I want to say, hey, let's watch it. Yes, is because of the way it was written, because of the acting of cartoons. I don't know, but it was emotionally driven. It was really powerful. But whereas these particular movies, it was more action driven. And they're movies, yeah, I'd watch it once or twice, but it's not a cult classic. We're out to make cult classics, right? Because we want these movies to be seen over and over and over again in various different formats, and for people to love them. And yeah, so thank you, and I'm going to wait till it goes to 13, because 13 is a magical number. So what else can we talk about Transformers? Things, Rodimus, use old school Transformers, better combine Easter eggs. Oh yeah, Easter eggs. So throw in some Easter eggs, things that the really hardcore fans are like, oh, that's that one alien that, worked with that one guy and the one thing. So throw in those kind of elements. Thank you. Has it been 13 minutes already? It's almost 14, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bye.